back to my channel, English Travels. I'm Catherine, and today we're going to talk about a daily routine that will help you speak fluent English. We're going to go over 6 things that are crucial to speaking fluent English. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. The first thing you need to do is you need to think in English. This is really important. You need to train your brain to think in another language. Then when you are speaking that language, it's not like a math problem where you are connecting a little grammar, a little vocabulary, and then this equals a sentence. We don't want that. We want something to be fluid. If you want to speak fluently, you need to speak in a fluid way where you're thinking in the language. It's really important. The best part about this is you can practice by yourself at any time. Obviously, I am a native English speaker, but when I am learning a different language, I try to add a specific part of my day where every single day I'm thinking in that language. Oftentimes I do it when I'm showering, so that is a great time where you're alone and you can kind of focus and you can think in English. That's a great time. Also have a friend who needed to learn English to go to university in the United States, and he was a runner. Part of his routine every single day was running, and so he combined that with English. When he went on a run, he thought in English. This is really helpful. It will train your brain. So think about some part of your day you can put English into it, where you can take time to think in English. If you think in English every day, I promise you will become a more fluent speaker. Number 2 is curiosity. It's really important to be curious when you are learning a language, and especially to get from a point where you are good to being great, or from good to being fluent. You need to be really curious. One way that I try to do that when I am learning a language, I am actively always thinking about my surroundings and the words I know. If you look around right now, the room you're in, do you see anything that you don't know the word? For instance, a light switch. What I would do, I would think, okay, do I know a light switch? Then I would take my phone and I would search a light switch right then. So let me pull it up. So I have my result. I'm going to screenshot it. Now it's in my photos. What I'll do is one day I have time and I think, okay, maybe I can do a little bit of English right now. I go into my photos on my phone and probably I have a bunch of screenshots. Let's see, there it is, and I have about 20 others. So I'm just gonna go through them and write them all down in my notebook. You already saw the word twice now. One time you thought about it, you looked it up, maybe you tried it, you said it out loud, and then the second time you wrote it down and you reviewed it maybe a week later, a couple days later. I promise now it's in your brain. If you want to bring your English from, it's okay, it's good, I can speak English, but I want to be really good at English, I want to be great, I want to be fluent, you will need to be curious, you need to look up new words. Number 3, I like to call this, put your life in English. What can you do to make as many aspects, parts of your life in English? Ideally, you can be in a country where they're speaking English. Sometimes that's not possible. And if that's not possible, how can you make your surroundings in English? One way you can do this is by all of your social media. First step is you can go into your phone settings and set your phone to English. This is going to require that you learn a lot more vocabulary. You are going to have to learn all the words in your setting. And when you log into an app, you're gonna have to learn those words. And for volume up and volume down, it will immerse you in the language. The next thing you can do is when you are searching on the internet or searching on YouTube, search it in English and the results will come in English as well. I bet that you're spending a couple hours a day on your phone. So what if you took all of that time and it was actually time that you're learning English? Some people don't have the time to say, okay, I'm gonna sit down for 2 hours every day and study English grammar. That would be great. I mean, that would be amazing, but most people don't have time for that. You need to be creative. How can you take the time in your day that you are already using, simply put it in English? All of your technology should be in English if you really want to speak more fluently. All of your searching on your browser, searching on YouTube, this should also all be in English. Part 2 of Life in English. How can you create your own immersion if you are not living in a country where they speak English? One way to do this is if you're going to write a list, it's in English. You need to get groceries, your grocery list is in English. For instance, say you don't know the word for milk or beans or rice. Probably there's going to be one word you don't know. And if you're writing your grocery lists in English, it's just extra practice. Probably you're going to do it anyway. Do it in English and learn some new words. And pro tip, if you are doing this and you are writing your grocery list in English and there is a word that you don't know, once again, I recommend searching it on your phone really quickly, screenshotting it, and then maybe a week later, a few days later, when you are going through all of your words, then you write it down. That gives you time to let it sink in. You can think about it, you know it in the moment, and then a week later you review, and now you really, really know those words. To-do lists, grocery lists, if you're going to write anything basically, try your best to write it in English. One more tip I have is taking the goals that you have already and trying to combine them with English. For instance, if one of your goals for the year is to read more, then I would recommend reading in English. I bet you could find most books that you want to read a copy in English. Then you have done 2 goals with 1. If you want to run or cycle, something like this, then do it in English. When you go on a run, you are thinking in English. One problem I've run into with this is when I'm running and I'm thinking in another language, then I have an idea of a word and I think, oh my gosh, I don't know that word. Right now, I want to look it up, screenshot it, and then I'll look back later. But I'm on a run. I don't want to look up this word. What it's actually going to do is maybe put that in the back of your head and think, okay, maybe when I get home, I'll look up these 5 or 10 words and I'll screenshot them. But what will happen, it will teach your brain to think in the language, and then once you get to a spot where you say, oh, I don't know this word, instead of stopping and looking it up, what you can do instead is just say, maybe I'll try to explain it, or maybe I will choose a different word. It will teach your brain to fix it if you don't know the word. This is also so important to speaking fluently. You need to learn to fix it when you make a mistake, or to keep going if you don't know the word. Running could be a really good way to do this. Any kind of sport. If you walk, then you could do it. Run, cycle, anything. Think in English, and if you don't know the word, it's okay. Keep going. It will teach you to be more fluent. Try to combine your goals. So if you have a goal already, combine it with learning English, and you will be so satisfied if you complete it. My last one is, I'm sure that you guys say, I have no time to learn English. I want to learn English, but I work or I go to school and I just don't have extra time. You need to figure out the time that you already have in your day and utilize it towards learning English. For example, if you go to work or to school, I'm guessing you go somewhere every day. Maybe you are driving or walking or taking public transport. At this time, maybe you have 15, 20 minutes, or I don't know. At this time, try to do something in English. This could be thinking in English. This could be looking around and saying, what words do I know? Which words do I not know? And then looking them up. You could be listening to an English podcast, and when you hear a word that you don't know, you look it up. You could be listening to English music. You could be talking to a friend in English. There are so many options. I've done this in the past. I had a 15-minute walk every single day to work. So I would walk 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back. and I said, this is my time every day for doing German. I don't have an hour to sit down every day and practice German and practice German grammar, but my German is good enough where all I need to do is listen, think in German, look up some words. So every day, this is part of your routine, this commute. I'm going to listen to a podcast, or I'm going to listen to music, or I'm going to think in English. Try to combine your time. We've added no extra time, but somehow you just did maybe an hour or two of English in the day. These are my top tips for becoming a more fluent English speaker, for taking the routine that you already have and mixing it with English. This will create your own immersion, and I promise if you do this every day, you are going to be a fluent English speaker in no time. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, and I will see you in the next video.